There is nothing quite like watching a self-assured politician squirm, which is why there are many people on the right and the left rubbing their hands with delight over Hillary Clinton's various whitewashes and then considering how some heads will explode if a certain vice president really does throw his weight into a run for the presidency. Let us loose the political animal for this Monday. Former Lieutenant Governor from the state of New York, Senior Fellow at the London Center for Policy Research, Dr. Betsy McCaughey, and the Newsmax Chief Washington Correspondent whose reports can be heard and read around the clock at Newsmax.com, John Gizzi. I thank you both for joining us. All right, Betsy, I'm going to ask you right square. Here it is, simple question. A Biden-Warren ticket, how likely is it?
It's very possible because when you look at Hillary's numbers, as all the political experts will, she is losing support. Her trust, her honesty, her credibility are declining very rapidly, and she is now losing in some head-to-head matchups with members of the Republican field in some of the swing states, and that is causing the political pundits to really worry.
But could a Biden-Warren ticket really succeed? I mean, look, Joe Biden's a nice guy, but he is just an older individual. Elizabeth Warren has been sitting here around us now for almost a year or so. I don't feel that same kind of love, if you will, that push for this ticket. This would seem to be, as somebody said, Christmas for Republicans if this ticket goes public. What do you think?
Well, that's hard to say, but let me point out that Hillary's problem here is 2 decades in the making, and the political experts know it. Way back when her husband was first inaugurated in the early 90s, he named a healthcare task force and appointed his wife to be the head of it. And she immediately got into trouble, a lot of trouble, even with the law, by keeping the names of those task force members secret and insisting that the meetings be secret. That in itself really doomed her health care effort. And those who remember way back then knew that there is inside of Hillary a fatal flaw that will make her an unsuccessful candidate. She cannot be honest with the public.
All that we've heard here, John, let me come to you right now. And again, this is the same question here in many ways. A Biden-Warren ticket. It sounds really attractive on the outside, but I come back to that statement I heard over the weekend about this being Christmas for the Republicans, and it would basically give them a great shot forward in winning the presidency. Do you go with that?
I'd have to say this, that if Joe Biden were to head the ticket and turn to Elizabeth Warren as his running mate, instead of playing Hail to the Chief, Republicans would certainly request orchestras to play Santa Claus is Coming to Town. Remember one thing about Joe Biden. He's the second oldest vice president in history, 1 year younger than Alvin Barkley, Harry Truman's vice president, who was told flatly by the oligarchs of organized labor, "We love you, but you're too old." That won't happen with Joe Biden because he has an entirely different situation. The long-perceived nominee in waiting is crumbling, and the Democratic field outside of the vice president is very, very limited. Would he pick Elizabeth Warren? I tend to doubt it. I think he would reach to other parts of the country, notably the South, for a running mate, just because he believes in the old adage about balancing a ticket. You don't get balance.
Well, that's right. And also, let me point out that Elizabeth Warren has a lot of leverage right now. And the fact is that if she were going to be on the ticket, she'd want to be on the top of the ticket.
Yeah, but she may not have that opportunity. By the way, John, real quickly, you mentioned going to the South. 10 seconds. Is there one or two names on your lips that you think might be likely for Biden?
Senator Bill Nelson of Florida is one, that's for certain, and I'd say take a very good look at him right now.
All right, I got about a minute left here. I want you both to hear this. Donald Trump spoke on CBS Face the Nation Sunday. You knew we'd talk about the Donald. He said he is now willing to take the big donor money as long as there is no quid pro quo. Here's what he said.
I don't want lobbyists. I don't want special interests. But certainly people, we have a lot of money coming in. A woman sends in $7.23 the other day. It was cute. She writes this beautiful little letter. That's what she had. But we have a lot of small contributors. I would even take big contributors as long as they don't expect anything. Because the only people that can expect something from me is going to be the people that want to see our country be great again.
John, I only got about 20 seconds, but I'll tell you, I think that might have been the funniest thing said all Sunday on any of the shows, to not expect anything from a president after all that money. That has to get a chuckle even out of everybody in the Beltway.
I'd say it certainly does. And what he said, that as long as they know they won't get anything from me, is something any of the candidates can said. It's one of those statements I call bomb fog. Brotherhood of man, fatherhood of God.
Betsy, 15 seconds to you. Your reaction. Were you laughing as hard as I was?
I don't think Donald Trump should expect any big checks in the mail, and he doesn't need them.
He doesn't need them. That is the big key. But to quite frankly say that it's okay, you can give me $10 million, expect nothing, can't quite go for it. Betsy McCaughey, John Gizzi, always a pleasure to have you on the show. Thanks so much for joining us. All right, here we go. We spoke about Hillary briefly. Here's your chance. Simple question. Do you believe that Hillary Clinton broke the law? Go to NewsmaxPolls.com and give us your idea. Next up, the reason why every cop in America fears a simple traffic stop. It's next, right here on The Hardline.